Welcome back to another episode of Didi Got a Podcast. I'm your host, Didi. I appreciate you all for tuning in as always. I'm your host, Didi. Super amped up today. Uh, I just went live not even 24 hours ago, and just like that, we have a full slate of things to talk about, and I'm ready to get into them. Yes, as you see on the thumbnail, you see in the title of this video, Candace Owens has finally addressed, so I say finally, apparently this happened some time ago, but I'm just now coming across the clip where Candace actually addressed the claims of her being in the Illuminati or being a plant and all these things. And I'm going to give my thoughts on it because, yeah, I'm 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 definitely going to give my thoughts on how I feel about what she said. I'm just surprised. I had never seen this clip. Andrew Wilson actually responded to me, right? He saw my tweet yesterday. He saw my criticisms of the now deleted live that he decided to host yesterday, where he hosted or he spewed a lot of lies, was very disingenuous, and the likes. And so we're going to get into that. Oh yes, before I get to what's really on my mind, and it's like I can't even think straight right now because I'm really annoyed. I'm just annoyed with these people. I don't know where these people come from. It's why I believe that a lot of these folks are plants. I know many of you all get sick of hearing me say that, or at least I believe that you do, when I'm saying things like when the algorithm are supporting people. At this point, I feel like I have amnesia. I'm not amnesia, but just extreme an extreme case of paranoia, that if the algorithm is supporting you and you're posting 10, 11, 12-minute videos of simple reaction videos, but you're getting 750,000 views and then 500,000 views and then 400,000 views, but you're only just giving a simple feedback reaction, even if your content and your advice is good content and advice, that's subjective. Why are you getting so many views? Anyways, the example or of the person we're about to talk to about in just a moment is going to fit that, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Jesse on Fire and I will be collabing in 2 days, and I'm so excited, at 12 p.m. Central Time, and we will be discussing the theory of Charlie Kirk being alive. Yes, I am well aware that many of you all do not fall in that category, and I am also aware that many of you all are quick to call people, what's the term that they use? Retards and low IQ for believing these sort of deals. Keep that same energy. As I always say, keep that same energy. Um, Super excited. It's going to primarily be hosted on his channel, but we have this sort of advanced technology that allows me to stream it on my show as well. So please go into the live tab of this show on my channel. If you're already a subscriber to Jesse on Fire, feel free to go through his channel as well. But go ahead and hit the notification bell so that you can be you can be notified whenever we go live. 12 p.m. Central Time. Before I get into this, let me go ahead and share this clip because I'm going to get ahead of myself, and I can't do that. I don't know if I said this already. Please hit the like button. Please hit the like button. Please hit the like button. That goes a long way, and it will help the video quite a bit. I would really, really appreciate it. All right. And with that, let's get into today's episode.
Shabbat shalom, Andrew.
What?
We invested a lot in you.
I was having nicotine withdrawal. The chair was uncomfortable. I barely slept. My foot was...
Silence!
She asked you to name one of the 7 charges. You said positive evidence 47 times. It was a framework!
47 times, Andrew. Bring me the jar.
No. No! Please! Not the pickles!
Jars Wide Shut. My video on the movie Open Eyes Wide Shut, something to that effect, is long overdue. I planned to actually record it like 3 or 4 months ago, but wasn't able to do it. Where's the image at? Where's the image at? Let's get the ball rolling. So there's a YouTuber by the name of Warren Smith. I am going to do everything in my power. My nerves are like racing right now because I can't stand these types of people. I don't know where they come from. Have you ever watched a creator that you really liked, and then even if it's about 3 months, 6 months, 2, 3, 4, 5 years after following this person, Not that you disagree with them. We're always going to disagree with each other on something, even important topics. But it's something specifically that they did that was so different, so egregious, that you for the first time questioned if this person was or is a plant, if they have been paid off, if they have been blackmailed, all the things that we have been discussing over the years, over the past few months, especially. I just found Warren Smith. I just found this dude over the past maybe few months. Like his content a lot. He seems to be fair, balanced. And then the Charlie Kirk thing happened. And then the Andrew Wilson thing happened where he started calling these people out to debate. And then Warren's video popped up in the algorithm. He's another one of those that get these outrageous number of views, but he's built a big platform, 650,000 subscribers on YouTube alone. Then this situation happens. You watch the video. Well, first of all, the title of the video throws you off first. You're like, well, maybe this is clickbait. And then you click on the video and it's like, yo, bro, what happened, bro? I like your content. What are you doing here? What do you mean? It just completely blows your mind. I'm going to do everything in my power. I'm going to attempt to find this person's email, and I'm going to attempt to email them. I'm going to ask you all, please tag Didi Got a Podcast is challenging you to a debate. Please accept Didi Got a Podcast's debate challenge. I've already commented under this video that we're about to share. Something tells me he won't accept it, and I hope I'm wrong. He even participates in public debates. So this is his realm. This is what he does. I hope he accepts this debate. A couple of weeks ago or so, if you all remember, I covered sort of his weird coverage of Andrew Wilson calling out Ian Carroll, Baron Coleman, Candace Owens. And one of the things that stood out to me is that Andrew Wilson was only naming certain people, which to me, I was like, is it about clout for you? You're looking at who gets the most amount of views, or are you willing to just debate anybody? Because I'll gladly debate you, Andrew Wilson, and I still hold that to this day. But that's not, just listen to how Warren Smith covered this situation.
Out recently that Andrew Wilson was hired by Turning Point USA to teach their debaters how to become unstoppable. So the picture's kind of getting smaller and smaller, and this whole battleground is heating up more and more.
Well, EPUSA hired me to go down and train its new crop of debaters.
Now, this has caused many on the left, especially, to start to lose their minds.
So if you all remember my first gripe with his video here, he's free to do what he wants. He can talk about what he wants. It's his channel. I don't need anybody to tell me that, but I have the right to critique the video. It's about an 8-minute video. This video he dropped maybe a couple of weeks ago. It's an 8-minute video. He spends like the first 6.5 minutes talking about everything but Candace Owens, which is what he titled the video. I have no problem with you putting the title of the video, that coverage at the very end of the video for watch time. I get the strategy behind that. But what's strange is he literally spends majority of the video not talking about the Candace angle, which is what he led people to believe the video was about, which tells me he has no integrity, or he has very little integrity to actually cover this case fairly. Number two, I've already shared with you all, I do not believe that Andrew Wilson was actually hired by TPUSA to train their crop of debaters. I actually agree with that theory. I believe that he feared that people would find out that he was there, so he got ahead of the curve, like I believe he's done with other things. So those were my early gripes, but pay attention to what Warren is about to do here.
Been pretty entertaining to see the response.
While I was down, EPUSA meeting with leadership and teaching their new crop of debaters how to kick the shit out of leftists, I get a DM from one Mr. Brian Shapiro.
So Brian didn't know Andrew was with Turning Point, and he happens to send Andrew a message.
And you can't make this up when I tell you this. Brian said, you know, everybody on the right hates you, right, Andrew? And I said, really? Like who? And I'm not even kidding you. I'm going to read it for you verbatim. And Brian responds with, everybody at Turning Point USA. I know them all. They're my friends, and we have private conversations.
As he's sitting there with the Turning Point people.
We're about to pivot to the other part of the video again. I just snipped this, just a little part of his video, just to give you all a recap before we get into what he did today, which blew my mind. But what's important to take away from this video is that he's another one of those people that cares so much about the left versus right that he misses the big picture, which is that all of it is corruption. All of it is designed to keep us going back and forth. But I'm getting ahead of myself. We're going to discuss that later when we talk about the whole Candace Owens Freemasonry, if she's a shield, a plant, all the things. We're going to discuss that later in the video. But just notice that he's buying into that, even though that has nothing to do with his thumbnail or his video title.
I think they have come to realize that, well, our strategy has not been working.
And seeing that America feeds into it, the liberal op to TPUSA under Z, they don't care. So I put in a little request of my own, TPUSA. I requested that they hire me as the official Charlie Kirk conspiracy theorist liaison.
So he's now admitted that TPUSA, he's made a request to be hired as the full-time Charlie Kirk conspiracy theorist liaison, right? He's going to fight against those that are coming up with what he's calling conspiracy theories, which is just alternative theories, right? Alternative ideas, possibilities. They're going to just call and label all of it conspiracy theories. That's already suspicious in itself, right?
Andrew is going to do what Andrew does best, and he's going to take the fight and say, I will debate all of you.
So all these like Baron Coleman and Candace Owens and all of them, I will be happy to go answer all of your questions that you have, as long as we can do it live.
All of you, anywhere you want, just make it live. So far, none of the top names, from what I can see, have taken him up on this.
Andrew's compromised. Well, maybe you should have your heroes challenge me to a debate, and let's see who's compromised.
It's going to be interesting to watch what happens in the days ahead.
For some reason, I got a feeling these people are going to go hide under their bed.
We just had Brian from the Whatever podcast offer Candace Owens, I believe, $50,000 if she would be willing to come debate Andrew. I would love to see that. I think my mind is open to being changed, for sure. Personally, I have no problem with people who want to discuss the discrepancies, the things that are not easily explained, the things we do not clearly have answers to yet.
So I want you to remember that he stated this, that there are clearly things that we do not have answers to. There are clearly discrepancies. There are clearly things that don't make sense as of yet. In fairness to him, he did say yet, but that what makes sense. Why? But anyways, so remember that he just said that.
What we need is for these debates to occur, but they don't seem to be happening.
Let's have a talk. I'm a nice guy. I just want to talk to you. That's it. We're begging them. Come on, let's chat. Can we chat today? Can we chat today? Can we chat today? Can we chat today? Now? You want to do it now? When you want to have a talk? Candace and Barron are actually investigating. They don't investigate shit. They're not investigating nothing. They're raking in the cash with a bunch of dumbass theories that I'm going to blow out of the water in 5 minutes.
Suddenly, no one wants to debate. This is not about how I feel about Andrew Wilson, Candace Owens, or any of these personalities. To me, this is about what does the evidence indicate. I can understand where Sean Ryan's coming from, where almost all these people are coming from. You lose me when you refuse to have the debate, though.
That is the biggest thing that I will agree with him on. I said the same thing. I thought it was strange that people wouldn't at least have a conversation with the guy, destroy him, right? Destroy him, because we are on the winning side. We are on the side of truth. We are on the side of sincerity. Clearly, the other side is not. So it was very strange to me. I was very open about it. And many people was pretending that the reason why nobody was accepting it was because Andrew wasn't worth it. Andrew was a shield. It's a trap, and it's a waste of time. In fairness to many of you all still feel that way, that it was a waste of time. But that's not what many people thought. In the moment that Candace Owens actually accepted the debate, many people pivoted. But let me get to my ultimate point. What I originally decided to do, only because Warren's video from another day popped up in my timeline today, was to talk about and address the fact and mock him a little bit, just a little bit, that my prediction was true. He wasn't going to cover it. The debate took place, Friday? Here we are, Monday. He hasn't dropped the video topic. But in the last 2 hours, he has dropped the video. Let's go and check out what he said. And we're going to absolutely obliterate what this guy said. I just don't like liars. I don't like people who are disingenuous. I don't like people who are manipulators. And that's what I believe this guy is. I believe he has a lot of great videos. I agree with a lot of his other political takes. But some of the stuff that this dude is doing, I'm like, bro, what? I believe these people are all paid, bro. That kind of hurt. Okay. Let's go over here and let's react to what this guy said. So the video here is titled 3 hours ago, 61,000 views already, right? 647,000 subscribers, large platform. And it's his bio here says the art of thinking critically. Okay. He says Andrew Wilson confronts Candace Owens and proves she has no evidence. So just really fast, let's talk about this title. All right, let me see if I can zoom in, if it'll allow me to. Okay. So Andrew Wilson confronts Candace Owens and proves she has no evidence. Now, this is going to come up in the debate, and this is very important for anyone who is in a debate themselves, anyone that's going back and forth with people on social media, anybody that's responding in the comment section of other influencers and accounts that are pushing nonsense. Please remember this. Candace Owens and the rest of us are taking the defense's position. That is to say, and this is how I know, or I shouldn't say no, let me be responsible here. This is why I am confident Warren will pretend that he doesn't see my comment. He's going to pretend that he doesn't see you all's comment of me challenging him to a debate. Accept the debate, Warren. If you ever see this video, accept the debate, bro. We're going to go live. We can't edit it. And we're going to discuss this. We are taking the position of the defense. You and anybody that believes that Tyler Robinson is guilty and should be put to death, including Andrew Wilson, who on second thought maybe doesn't believe that because he didn't even know what Tyler Robinson was being charged with. But that means you all are taking the position of the prosecution. Why is that important? It is not our position to provide evidence. What do I mean? There are two things taking place with Candace Owens and the rest of us, or majority of us. And this distinction is extremely important because people like Warren, people like Andrew understands that there's a distinction, but they're going to manipulate people into, putting them together, convoluting the two, whatever. Number one, we are scrutinizing. We are assessing the evidence, lack thereof, the case that is being presented to prosecute Tyler Robinson. What did they say he did? What is the evidence they are bringing forth? What is the motive? Who are the witnesses? Are they credible? Right? That's the one thing that we're doing. And then many of us on this is the second piece that is extremely important. And then many of us are going to step further and we're deciding, I'm going to just call it, have some fun with it. Not fun in the sense that it's not serious and we don't mean it, but fun in the sense of let's just do our own investigative work. And we'll go a step further and present new theories. But you can't forget the first piece, which led to us going to the second piece, which is we scrutinize the evidence that's been presented in the case that's actually taking place in a court of law. If you notice, Andrew Wilson, and you're about to see this from Warren Smith, they don't want to talk about the first piece. Let's not talk about the actual case. Let's not talk about the actual evidence or lack thereof. Let's talk about, let's bypass that. And let's talk about this second piece when you all want to go the next step and present your own theories. How dare you present things that you can't prove? Why does that matter? We're allowed to do that. If we're wrong, we're wrong. But guess what? Nobody's going to be prosecuted for us being wrong. Am I right or am I right? We're just YouTubers and podcasters and independent investigative journalists. It doesn't matter if we decided to do this in our spare time. What matters is the scrutinizing and the assessment of the evidence that is being presented. Let's see what Warren says here. So let's click on this.
Whoa.
And it's important for me to...
I just built a budgeting app and
before I say it because I don't want to ruin it.
You need to just build...
Andrew Wilson is playing a very specific game. Most people will not even see it. This has nothing to do with how I feel about either of these.
Yo, no, we have to address it. We have to address that part. Andrew Wilson is playing a very specific game, and most people will not see it. Why is this important to point out? Because millions of people, I predicted that the debate, if you want to call it that, the humiliation ritual, was going to probably perform somewhere in between 3 and 6 million, and it's somewhere around the 4 million mark. It's important to note that of the 4 million people that have watched this, Warren is already stating, which tells me what all I need to know, that most of those people, almost 4 million people, many of them are highly intelligent people. I'm sure of it. Most of them will not be able to see the game that Andrew Wilson is playing. In other words, Andrew Wilson made a fool of himself. Let me think of something creative and just say he's playing these Jedi mind trick games that's so far beyond Albert Einstein will probably be the only person that would understand. Translation, that's what that means. So he's already off to a bad start here. I'm about to destroy this guy's position.
People, if you block out the noise and examine only the logic, suddenly you can see it in a different light.
Between 0 to 100, what is the likelihood that you think Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk and killed him?
Based on the evidence right now, I don't know. I'd say 75, 85%.
Candace?
So hold on. But before we hear Candace, we just heard all the things that we've heard before. And that is to say, Andrew Wilson states that he believes Tyler Robinson is guilty. He believes that about 75, 85%. As we've already established multiple times over, debate's over, case is done, it's over. I'm going to repeat this. The defense's position is not to provide evidence. The defense's position is to provide reasonable doubt. Guess what Andrew Wilson just agreed to? That there's reasonable doubt. Case is over. You're not even 100% convinced yourself, let alone that you don't even know the charges. The debate is over. It's over, bro. Warren Smith, because he's a fair guy and he's logical, because he has that in his bio, he's a critical thinker. He just stated the word logical and logic. So he's definitely about to catch that with Andrew Wilson, and he's definitely going to be fair and objective and point out the problem with Andrew Wilson only being 75 to 85% sure that Tyler Robinson did this. Surely he's going to point that out. Let's take a listen.
And then PBD turns to Candace, and this is the most important moment.
No, he's not going to talk about what Andrew Wilson just said, actually. Not only that, but he thinks that Candace's answer is not only more important than Andrew Wilson's answer, but it's the most important part of the entire debate. Huh?
Entire debate.
0%?
0%.
I'm at 0.
Absolutely agree.
So
With what we've seen in terms of the evidence, I'm at 0%.
And that's the claim. She says there's a 0% chance. I mean,
not what she said. So you have to pay attention to these type of people because Warren Smith is an intelligent person. And he understands with his language, like Andrew Wilson, he'll manipulate a person. He says, Candace just stated there's a 0% chance. Not what Candace Owens just stated. What Candace Owens just stated, and she was careful with her language, based on the evidence that's been presented, I believe there's a 0% chance that Tyler Robinson did this, which I agree with her on that, by the way. But not only that, she goes on to explain why. Let's see if Warren shows that. But not only that, let's see what Warren is about to, the point that he wants to make from this assertion that these two individuals just made.
we're talking certainty here.
you're not even saying that he didn't even shoot Charlie Kirk.
Right. I would, if you said, was he involved that day, as I have consistently said on my platform, I would say, yes, he was. I don't know what role he played, but as the shooter, 0%.
If you're convinced there's a 0% chance, there must be some evidence to that beyond just, well, I think there's room for error.
Do you have any
Wrong.
evidence?
No. Wrong. Absolute. This is insanity, man. If you believe that Tyler Robinson did not shoot Charlie, did not shoot Charlie. When you say that there's evidence to that, the evidence for believing that Tyler Robinson, the evidence for believing, or I want to make sure I word this perfectly. The evidence as to why you do not believe that Tyler Robinson could have done this. You understand the way I just worded that? We don't know if he did it. That's a short way to put it. I don't know if he did it. I'm not convinced that he's done it based on what's been provided to us. That does not mean I have to show you who did do it. No, I have to assess what's been presented, if it's convincing or if it's not convincing. It's not convincing. Therefore, based on all the things you all have given me and refused to have given us up until a certain point in time of the preliminary hearing, I don't know if this man did this, and I have no reason to believe that he did. That's what that means.
It's forward.
For what? My percentage?
The fact that he didn't shoot and kill Charlie Kirk.
Yes.
I got excited. I was like, I'm going to learn something here because I want to figure this out. Based on the evidence she presents, I will change my mind.
We should go over the actual evidence that we feel.
Warren is so disingenuous. He said this in the prior video. He is placing the burden of proof on the defense. Notice he hasn't critiqued Andrew Wilson at all, who is holding the position of the she is taking of the defense. He's the prosecution. He hasn't critiqued the prosecution yet, even though he's already admitted, and we heard him just moments ago state there are discrepancies, there are red flags, there are unanswered questions, and there's things that we do need answers to. Notice that he hasn't held Andrew Wilson to any of this standard.
The first reason that I think it's compelling evidence is that Tyler Robinson's rifle was found near the crime scene.
That would be an example of material evidence. We have something we can actually point to. Now, you can claim there's more to it, and that's what Candace does with DNA. This gets into a really interesting debacle.
You could have DNA on something that you've touched. You could have DNA on something that you've never.
Make sure I'm being fair. That Warren is correct. That is an example of quote unquote evidence. Now we have to scrutinize the evidence, so to speak.
Touched. And to get DNA degradation, they've looked at pieces, items 20, 40 years on that don't have degradation.
Right here, she admits that items 20, 40 years on do not have degradation. Logically, therefore, degradation of DNA cannot be used to measure time. Therefore, we cannot determine whether or not Tyler Robinson was the last person to touch the gun based on your claim.
Very good point. I don't mean that as a backhanded compliment. Warren made a great point here. Here's the problem with his statement, however. Once again, he's not being fully objective. If he stated that and what I'm about to say, I say, okay, Warren is being fair here. He actually cares about just the truth instead of trying to protect a person or a narrative. He knows that Andrew Wilson is getting dragged all across the internet. So he titles his video only defends Andrew Wilson and takes this position because he's not being honest. He is right. By Candace Owens' own admission, you can't go by time to state that to state that Tyler Robinson didn't do this. That, in other words, 20 years can go by and there can be still strong evidence, strong DNA on said item, rifle, knife, screwdriver, whatever it may be, clothes. She admitted that herself. So therefore, simply because Tyler Robinson's DNA was the least or the most degraded doesn't mean anything. Here's the problem though. How would you explain everybody else's DNA being on the rifle? You say, well, they used it at some point in time. So that creates reasonable doubt. Once again, that creates reasonable doubt.
Yet Tyler Robinson's prints, amongst 5+ other prints, were the most degraded on that weapon.
Yeah, that doesn't actually give you any evidence in your corner for Tyler Robinson being a patsy.
Okay.
It does, though. It does.
There's more presence of somebody else's prints, and that could demonstrate that somebody is taking items from his house and putting it into various places.
But it also could demonstrate nothing.
Okay, I just described that for you, so I can explain it to you, but I can't understand it for you, so I'm going to move on from that.
This reminds me when I'm trying to debate someone about trans ideology. They're trying to explain how a man can be a woman. This doesn't make sense. Can you explain it again? I can't understand it for you. I can only explain it to you. This science is very obvious, Warren. I don't know why people seem to think this is some... Gotcha.
Yeah.
But in other words, he's seen all the tweets and all the memes about this specific portion, because this is actually one of the most important and impressive moments of the entire conversation, in my opinion. And it was this quote, because yes, stating that there were multiple other pieces of DNA on the rifle is good reason to believe that somebody else could have taken it there. It's not our job to prove that. It's our job to create reasonable doubt. Brother, she's doing it. That's what you call reasonable doubt.
entire basis for why you think that there's evidence for Tyler Robinson being the person that took the shot is based off of a hearing under Utah 1102 rules, meaning that they are doing the exact same thing that I am doing.
That's a big moment. If we can't listen to anything that could be categorized as hearsay, we can't listen to your claim that someone in the French government told you about an attempted assassination plot, because that would be hearsay.
And what that means is
I totally agree with that. Totally agree. Here's once again the issue, and this is how you know he's not being objective. That has nothing to do with today's conversation. So now it seems like it's personal for him. Do you have some sort of issue with Candace outside? Like, where did that come from? You know what I'm saying? Keep it about the case, right?
essentially is the people who are making the statements can just say, Patrick told me that he did this on Monday. Patrick's not here. And that is, they can allow that into the hearing. The entire preliminary hearing was hearsay.
Yeah, I'm fine with your inferences.
But no, you just literally said I couldn't do that. Yes, I can.
No, I didn't. I'm just saying from your inference, how do we get to Patsy?
This is how you got to Shooter.
This was not actually a debate. She's not trying to argue that her claim is stronger. She's simply trying to argue, hey, it's viable and it's okay for me to think. And I agree.
But that's the point, Warren. Like that, as the defense, that's what you're supposed to argue. Can we create reasonable doubt? And we could do that multiple times in this case. There's so many holes and problems and red flags and inconsistencies, irregularities that create a mountain of reasonable doubt here, bro.
Higher substance of your argument is that people can't infer off of evidence.
No,
that's what you're saying to me.
And somehow she spins this into Andrew saying people can't infer off of evidence, which is the opposite of what I thought he was saying. I thought he was asking you for the evidence that you're using to infer your conclusion.
That part I will agree with Warren on. I do believe that Candace misunderstood there. Early on, I think she may have gotten it right, but I think from there on out, it was just a semantics and misunderstanding. So I will concede that point.
I'm telling you, that was what the entire hearing allowed for. So the evidence that he is describing,
we're asking you
that
now.
he is using to argue his case is all based on inference, not fact.
What? Claims they have text messages in which he confesses. Pointing to that is not an inference. It's a fact. The court claims to have that.
I'm asking how you get to the inference that even if you dispute that piece of evidence, that means Patsy. I'm looking for the logical chain for how you get to that inference.
I didn't say it equals Patsy. I think it is enough evidence that it should be explored.
The claim was there's a 0% chance Tyler Robinson did this. This is not over whether or not you can explore this or that.
It is plausible that somebody just took his gun and put it there. That's it.
That's it? Then how are you getting to Patsy?
If there's 100 other plausible explanations in Candace, why is it that we should go with this idea that it was a Patsy?
I'm not saying that we should go with the idea that it was a Patsy. I am saying that there is.
I thought that was the whole defense, your whole claim.
No,
today.
my whole claim was that there is more evidence that he has set up as a Patsy.
How does that equal evidence of Patsy?
I don't know how many times I can say this.
That's a valid question. And the response.
Yeah, but she's answered it. She's already answered the question, though. Right?
He continues to get his. I can't understand it for you, Andrew. I can only explain.
You all, in other words, you found a gun, but you believe it was Tyler Robinson because he's the owner of the gun. Okay, fine. I'll grant you that. But then when you test the gun for DNA, there are multiple sets of DNA on the gun. You also do not have on camera Tyler Robinson setting that so-called gun down. Where is the proof that Tyler Robinson did it? Anyone could have set that gun down. That's what we're arguing here. And because we don't have that proof or that evidence, that being on you all side, because that's what you don't want to talk about, that's reasonable doubt.
And to explain what?
Whenever we're dealing with logic and we're dealing with making a logical inference, we're going to take the entire collaboration of evidence and then we're going to make inferences from that. You would do that with any type of logical proposition. Otherwise, you could never have a true or false claim.
But you just told me I couldn't.
So
do
when
that.
that never happened. You're just making stuff up.
That's not saying you can't make inferences. He's just saying your inference doesn't add up to Patsy. It doesn't make sense. That's all he's saying. He's not saying you can't think.
So I asked you how, with the inference you made, you got to the conclusion.
Okay. So I would like to know how you got to the conclusion. And I'm just going to throw it right back at you because
Yeah,
for some
that's
reason
fair.
you permit yourself to do it. And that's what I'm demonstrating is that you permit yourself to do it.
Mhm.
And then you say, when I do it, it's a conspiracy.
But what about Andrew Wilson's inference does not make sense? Confession, gun found, DNA, security footage, inference. Which one of those doesn't make sense?
If you're asking for my inference, why I think it's Tyler Robinson is because Tyler Robinson said in his text messages, you'll be able to see me on security footage at the campus. Said it in his own messages. On top of that, twigs, yes, you can pull them up if you want to fact check that. He did say. On
Yeah, I
top
would.
of
I'm
that,
sorry. I actually think
Well, before we get to this point, because Warren's about to say something else I disagree with, let me go ahead and concede to this point. I do agree with Warren that Andrew Wilson does have inferences, or he does have the proper pieces of evidence that lead to an inference for him to believe that Tyler Robinson is guilty. The issue is that what he believes to be true was heavily scrutinized, at least at certain points in this quote unquote debate, that proves that it's not actually actual credible evidence. Blurry pictures. There's no proof that Tyler Robinson was on the campus. There's no photos that show Tyler Robinson unequivocally, undeniably. It's irrefutable. There's not one photo. There's not one video footage of him or his car. So what you're calling evidence, I'm going to grant you, you have the culmination of all these things that lead you to believe that Tyler Robinson may have done it. Fine. Now let's scrutinize what you're saying, and it doesn't hold up.
I really did miss that. I'm not saying you're wrong. I
Yeah.
don't remember him saying you're going to see me in.
Let's listen to what Candace just said here.
that he did say. On
Yeah, I
top
would.
of
I'm
that,
sorry. I actually think I really did miss that. I'm not saying
Yeah, I think I really did miss that.
you're wrong. I
Yeah.
don't
I'm
remember
not saying that you're wrong.
him saying you're going to see me in.
Yeah,
I just don't remember him saying this.
paraphrasing,
Can
but
we
it was
pull that
close
up?
to it.
Yeah,
If
I
you
don't-
may
I feel-
have
I
it,
think
if you
that's
can
not right.
pull it
Right
I
there.
think that that's not right. Listen to what Warren says, and I know I was interrupted, but I'm going to play it back one more time. Listen to how Warren reacts to this, and tell me if this is an honest person.
Said it in his own messages. On top of that, twigs, yes, you can pull them up if you want to fact check that. He did say. On
Yeah, I
top
would.
of
I'm
that,
sorry. I actually think I really did miss that. I'm not saying you're wrong. I
Yeah.
don't remember him saying you're going to see me in.
Yeah,
in footage.
paraphrasing,
Can
but
we
it was
pull that
close to
up?
it.
Yeah,
If
I
you
don't-
may
I feel-
have
I
it.
think
if you
that's
by the
have
not
it,
way-
pull it.
Right there, she said, yeah, I don't think that's right.
It was
Right. So what's the issue, bro? She didn't think that it was right. She wanted it to be fact checked, which was the purpose of having fact checkers there, 3 people from each side, and it served to be that Andrew Wilson is correct. About to read it here.
me. Look at the pictures from the surveillance
Oof.
footage. It was me. Okay. I literally said to you, it's not an oof. I said I didn't remember this, and I'm happy to have a fact check on that. Okay. I didn't call for the fact check saying you're wrong. I literally said I
Okay.
don't remember that.
Well, rewind. But whatever.
Okay.
So when we're talking,
So Warren says rewind, but whatever, and then he doesn't rewind.
Don't remember that.
Well, rewind. But whatever.
Okay.
so when we're talking about the messages themselves, they seem totally valid. I have no idea why they wouldn't be valid.
You see what he did there? Warren said rewind. He never rewinded it because Candace Owens literally said, I'm not saying that what you're saying isn't true. I just don't remember this. I don't think that this is true. That's a very fair thing to say. She didn't say unequivocally she know it's not true. Warren is pretending that that's what she said. And proof of that is because he didn't rewind, because she never said that.
And I have not heard any good explanation for why it is that these messages should even be questioned.
Parking aside the intuition of
Mhm.
just something feels wrong here, which you should follow your intuition.
But it has to be tempered with logic, reason,
Mhm.
explanatory power, and evidence, not just intuition.
That's why we're parking it aside. Intuition is the first step.
But we don't get to the second step. She just continues to talk about intuition.
Nobody came in medium, right? No one came in like there were some interesting aspects. This was a little suspect. But I do think it's enough to go to trial. They all
So once again, Warren is being disingenuous, and this is what I mean when I say he was clipping this in a way that was not fair at all. This is not what happened immediately after those statements. He's clipping out certain portions of the conversation so it can fit his narrative. Candace Owens, literally when she started speaking about this, and remember, much of what he's been showing here is the first part where Andrew Wilson is supposed to be getting scrutinized. And then they're supposed to get to Candace and her theories and what she's been stating on her podcast. But instead, which is why some people were frustrated, Andrew Wilson instead flips it back on her. And instead of him having to explain why it is that much of what they call the evidence in the court of law It's blurry pictures and images and videos, right? Multiple sets of DNA and not just Tyler Robinson's. Weird things that don't unequivocally prove that it's Tyler. Instead of them focusing on that, it was Candace doing majority of the talking. Keep that in mind. But this specific portion here, not only has Warren edited out how the conversation naturally flowed from one step to the next, he's also lying when he says they don't actually get past step one of intuition. Once again, buying into this theory about Candace that it's about dreams and vibes and feelings. Lies. Why do you think hundreds of thousands of people agree with this woman? Because we're all about feels and vibes? No. Candace Owens started with intuition, but she prefaced it and said, before I get to the actual facts of the case, let's just start with intuition because this is important. Because they try to tell you that you shouldn't trust your intuition. An example of that was COVID. Then she proceeds to actually get into the details. Listen to what Warren shows.
Came in like they were passing away and we're going to die from being
Well, they're
overwhelmed.
trusting their intuition.
Okay.
I guess we still haven't parked it. All right.
Parking that aside. Parking
Okay.
aside, just your general intuition that sometimes might be second messages.
What did she just say?
What if you could make a song using only your voice? Let's start with the
Could there be someone who logged into his Discord? Could there be someone who logged in to his Apple?
I mean, it's possible. Do we have any evidence indicating that?
Hold on. Whoa. This is one of the most important parts of the video. No, Warren, we don't quote unquote have evidence of that. I totally agree with you there. Here's the problem. The reason why Candace Owens is mentioning this is because, once again, because you're not going to show this in the video clip, which is infuriating and shows that you're not an honest person. Candace Owens is mentioning this, and she stated this in the debate that, once again, you're not going to show. The defense team, Kathy or whatever the attorney's name is for the defense, stated that her team was not given permission to actually look over certain pieces of evidence, including the text messages. You know, the text messages that were inserted into evidence as a picture, not the phone itself. It was a picture of Lance Twiggs' phone showing the text messages. And in this picture of the phone, not the actual phone itself in evidence, so that you can then, look into the metadata and actually study the device to see where the device was when the messages were sent, so that we can clarify this. Instead, you have a picture of the phone showing the text messages that just so happen to be a cracked phone screen where there's a hole in the screen of the phone right where the time and the date would usually be showcased. So therefore, we can't even see the time of these messages. Isn't that convenient? We can't see when the picture was taken. We can't see the time of the text messages. We can't see the metadata of the text messages so that we can know, did you send it from another device? You can have two iPhones, one of them being your old iPhone from a year ago, the second being your new iPhone. You can take your old iPhone and send messages, and it will show up in your phone like you sent it from this phone. The issue is this phone can be at home and you could be on the other side of the country. We need to know where the device was that these messages were sent from to know if it aligns with what they said Tyler Robinson supposedly did. Warren's not going to talk about that. He's going to pretend that Candace Owens is simply stating that she has evidence that these things have taken place. No. We're saying they refuse to show it to us. Why should we believe it? And they haven't shown it to us. Which is why, once again, she said, based on the evidence, man, that's been presented. If they later show the metadata and the proof during the trial, that's different. But so far, what they've shown us and refused to show us is extremely sketchy. What's so hard to understand about this? There's nothing difficult to understand about it. Warren is not being honest.
George could be sending text messages right now.
Bingo. Warren knows exactly what she's saying. But his position is, yeah, but where's the proof that is what happened? The point that we're making is we don't know because they haven't given it to us. Give us the actual evidence so we can look at the metadata. Then we'll be convinced. We'll be closer to being convinced. But you all are refusing to give it to us and want us to just believe it off this really thin, very, suspicious thread of evidence, quote unquote evidence you've given us. Blurry pictures, blurry videos from far away, multiple sets of DNA on the gun, no proof that Tyler Robinson was on campus at all, text messages, but you won't allow us to see where the text messages were sent from and the time, not to mention that some of them were sent after this man was already in, or supposedly turned himself in. Stop pretending that you know exactly what we're talking about.
He has every login that I have. And remember, he's up for a death sentence.
So there's room for doubt. Andrew even
Thank you.
says that himself. That's
Did you hear him? Hey, Warren, what'd you just say? There's room for doubt. That's all we need, bro. Stop pretending that the defense, because that's the position that Candace is taking, has to prove something. No, they don't. That's the prosecution's job. The defense's job is to poke holes and to present reasonable doubt. Not only has reasonable doubt been presented, you've conceded to it. And so has Andrew Wilson when he stated that he's only 85% convinced. 15% is overwhelming reasonable doubt. Case over with. Case done. How embarrassing, man.
totally fine.
No, it's not fine. What, bro? This is part of the issue. And this is also part of the reason why Candace asked at the very end, which one of the charges do you believe that he's guilty of? I believe Candace, by the way, Candace said that wasn't even supposed to be a gotcha. She was getting ready to ask him specifically about the first charge, and she wanted to talk about that aggravated murder charge. Except when she asked the question, she realized, oh, I don't even think he knows any of them. I believe her on that because the way she asked it. This is why Warren is a liar, once again, when he says that it's not a big deal. It's a very big deal. Because once you actually dig into the charges, number one being aggravated murder, which is the most important. We can get into the violence in front of a minor and the tampering with evidence and the obstruction of justice charges. We can get into those things. But the number one most important one is the first charge, which is aggravated murder. Why? Because it carries the death sentence. On a two-dimensional level, if we are to believe this man is about to get put to death, it is important that there is no room for reasonable doubt. You just admitted that there was. Andrew Wilson admitted that there was. Case is over. It's over. He goes home. It's over. That's a wild thing to admit, bro.
Discovery was not met by the time we got to preliminary hearing. So I remain unconvinced by these text messages. Just as you feel convinced by them, I feel unconvinced by them.
Very fair thing to say. Didn't say that we know for a fact they weren't sent by Tyler. Not our position at all. We said we need to be able to analyze and see the evidence or the proof that they were sent from where y'all claim he was. Because we know that technology allows you to send text messages from multiple devices, not just phones, from iPads and computers and MacBooks. Let us see that it was sent from the place that y'all claimed he was at that point in time. Let us see it. Because based on what y'all have shown us so far, we're not convinced. Warren says, nah, you should be convinced. Or if you're not convinced, this is the best we got. So we got to go along with it. Even though there's reasonable doubt, you don't have proof that something else happened. So just go along with this shaky case. That's absurdity.
Okay. Remaining unconvinced is different than saying there's a 0% chance he pulled the trigger. That's convinced. What convinced you?
We never get to the thing that I am disputing.
Well, I was just providing an answer. We were coming back in from a break.
It didn't look like she wanted to have a debate. She just needed.
So we're 8 minutes and 31 seconds into a 10-minute and 51-minute video. In other words, we're more than 85% through this video, and Warren has yet to talk about anything with Andrew. Spoiler alert. You will be correct. Warren is not going to say anything about the fact that Andrew Wilson absolutely knew 0 charges. He was not familiar with a single charge. It was very clear. that Andrew actually does not care about this case. It was very clear. You will be correct when you say that Andrew Wilson or Warren won't even talk about that. He won't bring it up. That's how you know this person is not objective. This is who you follow. These are the type of people you folks subscribe to. Him. If you were objective, you would at least concede, man. It wasn't a good look that you don't know any of the charges. In fact, let's go a step further. The fact that you didn't know any of the charges, but claimed that there's overwhelming evidence of what if you don't know what the charges are? He doesn't even cover it in this video. But he's objective. He's open to having his mind changed. He's a liar. Warren, if you see this video, you're a liar. You're a liar. All right? No, he's not going to talk about the fact that Andrew Wilson, in this same debate, claimed to have had evidence of a text message that he chose not to show. You know, because you're holding Candace to this standard. What about Andrew? What about Andrew? Right? No, he's not going to talk about the fact that he says in this same interview that he's going to then show that text message on his show. What's the reason? To drip out that evidence, keep them coming back for more views, clicks, and money. Views, click, and money. You're not going to talk about that, Warren? No, you will be. Yes, you will be correct. Warren is not going to talk about the fact that Andrew Wilson went live yesterday. Not only did he not show the text messages, right? Let me show you all what Andrew Wilson said. Because yes, you will be correct that Andrew Wilson defended Erica Kirk some more, but he was actually asked directly, did Erica Kirk contradict you when she stated months ago that Charlie Kirk was not texting anyone the day before or any other time about being in fear of his life from anyone? And I have his phone. Did she contradict you? Listen to the absurdity of a response that Andrew Wilson gave. I'm shocked. It's a humiliation ritual. He decided to share this. And guess what? You will be correct once again. Warren doesn't talk about this in today's video. So let's go and check it out. Shall we?
Have his phone and there were no threats made to
Hold on.
Doesn't the text you read contradict Erica's comments in Glenn Beck where she said, I have his phone and there were no threats made to Charlie?
Or for one person's security only, because I'm somewhat worried the left is trying to kill me. That was a message sent September 9th.
But he was not messaging people the day before saying, I'm going to be murdered. They're coming after me. Someone's going to kill me. He didn't say that. And I have his cell phone.
And I have his cell phone.
Do you think that, like, is this what I mean by no charitability? Like, what if she was just wrong? You know? Like, do you ever think about that? Like, what if she was just wrong?
There's, once again, Warren doesn't cover this. He's not going to ever cover this because Warren is compromised. But you're looking at a person who's not. I'm objective. I'm the type of person I can have my mind changed in real time, and I'll pivot if you present compelling evidence. People like that dude is not. What's very strange about this clip with him is the very obvious thing. Well, bro, why are you sitting in a dark room with this hat over your eyes? Somebody in the comment section called this the Erica Kirk hat. That's so funny. Notice that once again, Andrew Wilson of all people is going the extra mile to defend Erica Kirk of all people. She's a woman and she's not the brightest, which are two reasons it's odd that he would defend her. That's weird, but he's willing to do it. You think he'd ever do this with anybody on the quote unquote left? Of course not. Even if he felt like they were innocent or there was good reason to believe they were innocent, he wouldn't do it. Compromised. Now all of a sudden he's proposing maybe she was wrong. Not that she lied. He's not going to make it a nefarious thing. That would implicate that she was nefarious. No. Maybe she just made a mistake, an innocent mistake. Well, she didn't. She said that she still has his phone, which means she had time to double check if he's been texting anyone. What is this guy talking about? Yes, you would be correct. Warren is not going to talk about this. Of course. me do this.
Doesn't the text you read contradict?
But he was not messaging. Say that.
Is this what I mean by no charitability?
Now all of a sudden he wants people to be charitable. If it's not obvious that this dude is either being blackmailed or paid or both, it's obvious more than ever. Yes, you will be correct. Warren is not going to talk about this.
Like, what if she was just wrong? You know? Like, do you ever think about that?
No.
Like, what if she was just wrong?
No. Why is the phone not in evidence, right? For discovery. Why? Why? Yes, you will be correct. Warren is not going to talk about this. He's not going to talk about that Charlie Kirk's clothes, as far as we know, clothes, necklace, phone, microphones, receptors were not turned over into evidence. Warren, why aren't you talking about that, bro?
What if it's not that she was nefariously trying to
But you don't know that, though, bro.
hide it?
You don't know that. He looks like he is struggling, and I don't mean that as an attack either. Like, he's still human at the end of the day. I'm concerned for this dude, man. From what I can tell, it looks like he's drinking and smoking to try to heal his mental health. He knows he embarrassed himself, and he just continues to dig the hole deeper.
From everybody.
And I have his cell phone.
Maybe she was just fucking wrong.
In other words, let me get ahead of the narrative. So this AI image that I'm about to show you, all of these text messages, let me show you proof let me go ahead and put this out there so that you can't say that my text messages are discredited.
Or maybe she meant, no, there's no specific person that I can point to. No specific thing I can point to. It's all general. You know what? There's just no fucking charitability with you people.
It's third-degree felony. Now, I did notice something I just was curious about. If I'm just wondering, when you pulled out your phone just before you asked that question, did somebody by chance text you that question?
You can check my phone.
I'm just curious.
No, you can absolutely not.
Yes, you will be correct. Warren is not going to cover this part of the quote-unquote debate, which is probably very arguably the single-handedly most embarrassing moment of his career. And yes, that includes the debate he had with the woman on whatever podcast where she spoke about the 3 baby daddies from his wife. And yes, that also includes the failing to open a pickle jar. This is number one by far. You hear the big bad wolf, so educated, so well-spoken, so articulate, using all these terms like positive evidence and logical fallacies. You don't even know the charges.
And I have not had one communication with a single person, not even my producers who are in there this whole time we were here. You want to check my phone?
Let's see.
See if anyone was texted at all during this debate.
All right.
About the violent charges or anything.
And you really shouldn't operate in life like that. You should at least be somewhat charitable to what people are saying or trying to say.
Don't need to read it.
Any other texts? Could have been Telegram. Could have been something.
All
like
I have is Signal. You can check that too. I only have Signal.
Because when you think about it, you expect them to be charitable to the things that you say.
Can you tell me all of the downsides of Donald Trump killing pedophiles in the Middle East?
Oh boy.
Were those schoolgirls pedophiles?
It's
Oh boy. Oh boy.
institutionalized in.
I've already shown this. I don't want this video to get flagged, but this is where he was defending PDF files. And then Orange Roar is going to ask a very obvious question. Was it PDF files when all those innocent schoolgirls were unalived? His response, Mr. Andrew Wilson's response is, what would you have wanted? For them to survive only to be RAPE'd? What?
The Iranian. We're the 200 schoolgirls pedophiles.
You want to make sure that they're alive so they can get raped?
Oh boy. Oh boy. Wow. Let's get that off our screen before we get flagged. Absolutely mind-blowing. I have almost 2,000 people in the building. Go over to Warren Smith's YouTube channel, Twitter, Instagram, wherever you can find them. all I'm asking you all to do, tag Didi Got a Podcast wants to debate you. Please debate Didi Got a Podcast. Didi Got a Podcast has called you out. Didi Got a Podcast is challenging you publicly. These type of people have to be exposed, bro. He has no excuse. If enough of you go over there, he has no excuse, because he actually participates in public debates. And it won't be, ad hominems. It won't be, so I won't be as animated as I am now. But I will definitely 100% stand on every, bro, the amount of cognitive dissonance you have to take the position he took in that video. Let's read, which reminds me before I go on to the next point. Let me show you all a couple of things. A couple of comments under this his YouTube video. So downloads. What? I'm so confused. I literally downloaded, or at least I thought I did. Yes, I downloaded it. Did I not? Yes, I did. What? Why are these not showing up? Let's try this again. I literally downloaded every last one of these, and let me show you all this. Oh, okay. Now all of them pops up. Okay. Excuse me. Somebody responded and said, all right, you all said, what's his podcast called? His podcast is called Warren Smith. Here, I'll show it to you. I'll just share the screen and show it to you. If enough of you all go over there, that would mean a lot. I want to do this. People like that are so infuriating, but he's not going to accept the debate. He's not going to do it. He's not stupid. He's an intelligent man. He knows what he's doing. He's going to watch this clip and he's going to say, I can't argue against that. It's called Warren Smith Secret Scholar Society. All right. Interesting title. Andrew Wilson confronts Candace Owens and proves she has no evidence, pretending that Candace Owens is the judge, jury, and executioner. No, she's trying to defend the person, which means she has to poke holes in the evidence that has been presented officially. Insane. So that is the name of his channel. Let's read some of these comments. This person right here says, you cannot doubt my claim, quote, you cannot doubt my claim if you don't have a claim of your own with better explanatory power. Exactly. That seems to be what you are saying here, Warren, and I think it is logically fallacious. In the years following 9/11, I had many discussions with people about the government's narrative, which was demonstrably false at many, many points. These people would sometimes angrily reply to me, okay, well then what did happen? As if there was a defeater. That was we're a defeater. I had my theories, but my reply was that it is not true that I have to provide an airtight counter narrative. It is enough that I can show you that what's been presented has multiple holes in it. Bingo. Let me move this banner. Very well said. Let's go to the next one. Somebody said, dude, these comments come straight from the crucible. Andrew spent $300,000 to get publicly humiliated. Let's go to another great point that somebody said. Oh, yes, that's right. This person actually took my position. They said she doesn't need evidence. She needs reasonable doubt. The burden of proof is on the state and Andrew Wilson, and he had nothing compelling. Also, you're a clown for this analysis. Very, very strange. Somebody here said, but we all know it's some kind of cover-up, right? Shouldn't that be what's important? Just blatantly gobbling up cable news narratives is always a losing proposition, and Andrew couldn't get enough of it. I'm going to repeat this. This is a very good point. But we all know there is some type of cover-up. Andrew Wilson, Warren Smith will tell you Yeah, it is very strange. Some of these things, some things don't make sense. Some things don't make sense. Some things don't add up. We have incomplete explanations. Some things don't seem to be possible, but it's what they gave us, and we don't really know what else could have happened, right? We have to have more proof that otherwise we have to accept this. No, that's not how this works. You have to prove that what they've presented has reasonable doubt. Stop with these people. Stop allowing these people to flip it, because they'll say that we're flipping it on them. No. You're the prosecution. You believe that who's been charged is guilty. Show us your evidence that he's guilty. Okay, fine. You don't have to. How about we collectively together scrutinize the evidence? You know that first piece? The second piece, which is we went to the next step of looking and coming up with our own theories. That's what you want to talk about, which is sort of pointless right now. First, we need to establish the evidence that's been presented is useless at this point in stage, at this stage, right? And here's the final comment I thought was incredible, and I believe I even responded to it. Here it is. They said, "You are arguing backwards." Absolutely, very well said. They started with Andrew making a claim, which he immediately backed off from and never argued again. That's what she was trying to say to him. She wanted him to prove his claim, and instead, he put it on her to disprove something he had already backed off from. Very well said. Very well said. Totally agree. And I want to slide this in here since I actually clicked on it. Where is it? Once again, please go over to the live tab on the channel. I will be going live with Jesse on Fire, just in case you just joined. Jesse on Fire and myself will be going live in 2 days at 12 p.m. Central Time on Wednesday to discuss the Charlie is alive theory. Yes, for those of you that think it's silly to even entertain that theory, as I said before, keep that same energy. Keep that same energy. We're not going to have a conversation about something that's not worth having a conversation about. All right? But guess what? Warren Smith is not the only person that has taken this weird position that makes no sense when it comes to this Andrew Wilson versus Candace Owens thing. It wasn't just him. It was also Mr. Nick Fuentes. Listen to this. I know some of you all are skeptical of Sneeko, but he did a great job of covering this. It says Sneeko clowns Nick Fuentes for not going live after backing Andrew Wilson before he got destroyed by Candace Owens in their Charlie Kirk debate. Listen to this. Foolishness.
She beat Andrew Wilson so badly, Pablo Fuentberg didn't go live.
Send Andrew Wilson your energy. This is the big moment, and history is watching.
Yeah, so is this what the Goiper curse is?
I signed an executive order, and Red Pill is dead.
It's dead. It's over. Send them your energy. So they sent them ball demonic energy and got their friend humiliated. Goiper curse. Well done.
Andrew Wilson is holding it down for all of us.
Oh.
All of us truth seekers, all of the rational people. I'm excited for this one because this is like the first time she's been publicly confronted, I think like ever. She did the Erica Kirk thing behind closed doors. She won't debate anybody.
How do you call that a debate? Remember, Nick Fuentes, you were also critical of Erica Kirk, very critical of her as well, immediately after Charlie Kirk's supposed pow-powing. But you're going to count that as some sort of, okay, cool.
Else. So now let's see it. Time to put up or shut up. Now we're going to see this one. It's going to be good. That'll be on Friday. I might live stream it.
Oh,
if it happens, we'll see. Maybe I'll do a recap afterward. I'm not sure yet.
Nothing happened. There was no live reaction. There was no recap. Bo ran into the tunnels with Rabbi Mizrahi and Erica Kirk, who's paying his checks. Allegedly.
Oh my gosh. Yes, and now that I already showed you all, Nick Fuentes went on X right after the quote unquote debate and says that it was a waste of time and nothing was proven from it. In other words, the person he was rooting for humiliated themselves.
Brutal.
But I think that'd be a lot of fun to cover it live.
Yeah.
And I'm rooting for Andrew, praying for his victory. He's really come a long way. And
Yeah.
not to be patronizing at all, but
Do you remember Andrew Wilson was saying that Pablo Fuentberg ran a pedophile cult because he ran cover for Ali Alexander? He was saying this in 2023, tweeting that Pablo Fuentberg runs a pedophile cult. Now they're besties, and not looking good.
I remember him and I used to have beef a long time ago.
Not that long ago.
And he was saying, I'm going to be the champion. I'm going to be a big debater. I'm going to be a star. I remember this. I remember years ago, he was in a Discord server. We had a big falling out because he was talking all this trash and saying, I'm going to be a big streamer. And you know what? He is, to his credit.
Yeah, wow. Hey. Whoa. Whoa. How many charges were there? No respect to Andrew Wilson, but his wife, I did tweet that quite a bit. She was saying,
all right, but it doesn't stop there. It would have been great for him if it stopped there, but it doesn't stop there because Andrew Wilson, Nick Fuentes took it a step further, and I'm going to show you all this clip as well. Where is it at?
yeah, to get mainstream, this is a sign to everybody. If he's going to endorse you, you should start praying for your own safety, bro, because what happened? He endorsed Laura Loomer in 2022. Everyone vote for Laura Loomer, Jigsaw. He endorsed James Fishback, and Fishback's probably going to lose. Who else does he endorse? Andrew Wilson against Candace Owens. That was brutal. Humiliation.
From Mexico.
Then you know what else he does? He snakes everybody. He says, yeah, to get mainstream institution approval, I'm going to counter signal the anti-Semites. And then look at Tim Pool. He walked off a debate from Jubilee today. He walked off of a debate.
I saw that.
I want it to be extremely one-sided, and I think he could pull it off. He's a pretty solid debater. Very good. So, and he's got a lot.
So this is what the Groyper curse means. This is the new definition.
A lot of experience is kind of what he does.
Avocado curse.
So we're rooting for him. It's going to be good stuff. Like I said, I think I'll cover that Friday.
Oh yeah? Wait, what happened? Why are you running? What? Why are you dancing bachata? Why are you eating tortilla and not streaming? Oh, why are you gay? Why are you catboy? Why are you fed? You gay. Don't be gay. Why are you avocado?
I don't know what time they're doing it, but I'll be tuning in whether we do it live or not.
Oh, bada bing.
Yeah, that didn't age well at all. Didn't age well at all. I think I'm going to do this before we get into the Candace Owens clip and before I show you Andrew Wilson's response to me directly, which surprised me. Didn't think he would see it, but he saw it and had something to say. Not much to say. For those of you that didn't see what I shared earlier, let me show you all. I think I'm going to start implementing segments in my live videos of just current updates of what's happening in the world on the large scale and some of the on a quote unquote smaller scale, which are all still very equally important. We're going to start with our good old buddy Trump. As a reminder, I want to show you all what he said before. And yes, we have videos like this for multiple presidents, not just Trump, not my position at all. Let's see what he had to say back in 2024, and let's see what he said as of August of 2026.
Will become energy independent shortly after, but start also on day one, drill, baby, drill. We're going to bring your electric prices way down. We're going to bring your energy prices way down. Gasoline will be back to $2 and maybe even less than that. So I just say this. So for you to pay a tiny little bit more for your gasoline, just remember, you're doing it so that a very evil country cannot have a country. Really, it's the #1 state sponsor of terror in the world.
Wow.
We don't want to have them have a nuclear weapon.
Fear-mongering people, gaslighting people, right? Trying to pull at people's heartstrings. Yeah, I know I promised X, Y, and Z, but listen, just play a little bit more, which is a lot more. Gas is, depending on where you are, you can literally go to a gas station where gas is like $3.79. Or you can go 20 minutes up the road, 10 minutes up the road, and gas prices are $4.15. Some places in the country, I believe they're as high as like $5.50. Put in the chat, how much is your gas right now? What's the cheapest and the most expensive gas price per gallon in the current city or state that you live in? $4.15 in Detroit. Dog, what? What are we talking about? A little bit more. That's not a little bit more. That's $2.50 more than what you told people. But we know how this goes. Y'all can see that in the live chat. Look at those prices, man.
So remember that when you have to pay a little bit more, you're at $4. It's okay. I mean, it's I'll never apologize. I did the right thing. But
I'll never apologize.
you could, if you didn't have.
Wow. Wow. Let me also show you all this. So remember we were talking about the other day about people that are foreclosing on their mortgages and they're just choosing not to pay their mortgages. Well, I want you all to take a listen to what this lady shared, and this is the reality for majority of us. But once again, like I said before, a lot of people don't talk about it because people say to themselves and they're embarrassed. Listen to this.
You want to know what's wrong with this day and age? I'm going to show you what's wrong. What is happening? Got it on sale for 99 cents. $2.99. This giant family size box was on sale for $4.99. These were actually on sale for $1.49. $1.49, limit 6. 6. We will throw half this package out. We all love a good cookie. Okay? You see all this? Under 10 bucks. Cool. Maybe a little over with tax. See these? See these sweet potatoes? I can show you. See these sweet potatoes? Do you see this? See how small this is? It's the same size as a Chip Ahoy cookie. One cookie. See these sweet potatoes? This is all they had to choose from. Sweet potatoes. We eat extremely healthy. Yes, we like to have a treat or quick goes like we're human. See these 4 small sweet potatoes that will feed 3 of us. Sweet potato fries tonight. Can't even make a casserole because there wasn't enough. $7.45.
Insane.
$7.45. This is the same. Take cereal out of the equation. This is what's wrong.
Forcing people to pay more money. Like, I know if you were to go to, an organic food store like Whole Foods, sure, those types of foods that are farm raised, things of that sort, which, by the way, has been exposed, I believe, by Ian Carroll and many others, that a lot of those foods are just as unhealthy for us as well, right? They just have better branding and marketing behind them. But I understand, though, why some of the food in those stores are more expensive, because you're bypassing a lot of chemicals in the food. But this right here is wild because this is just from a regular everyday store, that being the sweet potatoes. You're going to force people to pay more money to eat healthier.
This is what's wrong.
Way more, though, which is what's wild.
See these? See these Brussels sprouts? Love Brussels sprouts. We love veggies. They're not even in that good a shape. That's all they had. You see that? Do you want to know how much this bag was?
Listen to this. How much y'all think them Brussels sprouts cost? I promise you we're about to get to the Candace Owens piece, but you got to hear this part. How much you think those Brussels sprouts cost? I just want to hear people guess first in the chat. How much you think the Brussels sprouts cost? Somebody said $4.99. That's a lot. Or maybe S is kind of hard because they might be talking about the gas. $6. Somebody said $7. $6 for Brussels sprouts of that size is insane. Let's see what she says here.
Do you want to know? This bag right here was $9.
I'm at a loss for words.
This bag, it fits in the palm of my hand. It's open now, so it's going. $9.
Look how much that is. Organic or not, there's no reason that should be $10. That should be like $2 or $3, bro. Maybe $3. With the small amount, $2 or $3, man. 3.5. I'll give you 3.5. I feel like that's a stretch. $9?
$9 for Brussels sprouts. They're grown in the ground. They're picked, usually with a big machine, put into the warehouse, and they're sold loosely. There's no packaging. There's nothing. This is how they're sold. And they give you one of these. You can pull one of these bags to load it. This, dried potatoes, vegetable oil, corn flour, cornstarch, rice flour, sugars, mono and digla something, salt, citric acid, wheat starch. It started with this. Maybe not a sweet potato, but you get my point. It started here, the very first ingredient. So why is this so much cheaper with all this packaging, okay? All of this and all of those ingredients made in a factory. Cheaper than this.
And that's the reality for majority of us, whether we're willing to talk about it or not, because once again, a lot of people say to themselves, a lot of people complain to themselves, unless they're complaining to like family and friends. All right. The last couple of videos I'm going to show you all before we get to Candace are a couple of these teachers. One of these teachers went viral like a week ago. And I'm going to just assume that many of you all have saw the video of the African-American teacher who was on camera crying. And remember, 2 years ago, this was my life. This was the world I was in, working with teachers, nonprofits, people who were on the ground doing the legwork to really try to change and make a difference in society. The people that we don't appreciate the most, like the teachers, the janitors, the plumbers, right? The people that are doing the trades that are very important to keep society running. I want you all to pay attention and listen to what this professor said he witnessed. And I've linked in the description the entire video, where you can find the extended video of everything he said. But this is just in short. Listen to what he said he witnessed in school, which, by the way, has been a reality for well over a decade now.
They're leaving high school and going to college, and they couldn't fill in 4 words. 4 words. I literally broke down in the middle of class. This is only day 2. And I have seniors who simply cannot read and seniors who cannot write.
Wow.
They can reason. They have the ability to defend their reasoning if it's talking to their homeboy, but applying that to a written text, 2 paragraphs.
Wow.
And they couldn't do it. Our young black men, our young brown men, our young black girls, and our young brown girls.
Like I said, that was just a snippet. But the video is like the full video is maybe 3 minutes long. I've linked it in the description. It's sad. And that's been a deal for a long, long time, especially in Arkansas. Let me show you all the next one before we get to Candace. I want to show you all another video of a teacher who went viral. Says here, the teacher of the year in Nashville, Tennessee, just walked away from her career. She said the district ordered her to fabricate grades. She refused. So they went into the system and changed it themselves. According to the teacher, a student didn't finish a project. Hardcastle, the teacher, gave the student the grade that they earned. So let's listen to what she said here.
What you have in front of, I was teacher of the year at John F. Kennedy Middle School in Antioch. this past year and Blue Ribbon Teacher of the Year for the district. What you have in front of you right now is my resignation letter. I resigned in May. You can read those 3 pages at your leisure. But I've heard a lot of positive data in this meeting, and I just wanted to give you some facts from my firsthand experience. So first, district leaders asked me to fabricate grades for a parent who sat in the office for hours until her daughter's failing grades were changed. It creates false entitlement. What happens when these kids lie, cheat, and cry their way through school and end up as future doctors, police, or politicians? When will you protect the future of our society? Second, that same parent has harassed over 30 teachers. Teachers have filed police reports, and entire school districts have had or entire schools have had restraining orders against her. Yet she's still allowed on school property, showing up to field trips her child didn't earn and filming other students. When will you stop prioritizing parents' feelings over the safety of our teachers and our students? I heard you also mention that we're closing gaps in teacher vacancies. I want the public to know that many of those are filled with uncertified teachers. My third point, HR withheld money from my employee paycheck as well as many others. They took $500 from me specifically, and it put me behind on my mortgage. And then they sent out an email saying that they had to do it to pay other employees. When will you pay teachers what they are owed? My fourth point, the news reports that behavioral issues are down. They are not. We are simply banned from reporting them, forcing us to keep disruptive students in the classroom. Statistics are being skewed to protect the district, not our children. Our children cannot read and write. They cannot do basic math. And we spend 40 hours a week with these students, so we know them better than the district and those fake numbers. Please stop undermining our professional decisions, because honestly, it's breaking the efficiency and it's giving HOA quality. So Dr. Battle, my question to you.
Thank you. The time.
Okay.
And sure enough, they cut her off because they always do that. I'm going to start. You all let me know in the comment section, and feel free to be honest with me. If you're feeling me either at the beginning, in the middle of sharing these sort of real world, real life updates of what's happening in society all around the country and in the world. If you want me to spend maybe 10, 15 minutes of just sharing some quick updates in a short period of time, and then we can get back to the topic that you all came here for, let me know if you're feeling that. And I'll continue to do it if that's something you all are looking forward to. I want to show you all what Andrew Wilson had to say to me. The tweet that I put up yesterday, as many of you all know, I put up a tweet yesterday being very critical. I don't want to read the tweet all over in this very moment, but if I can pull it up, there it is. So in the comment section, he responds to me, and he says, ha, 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 laugh my A off. Now, if you all don't know, Andrew Wilson and Owen Benjamin, from my understanding, was supposed to debate like last year sometime or whatever. I don't know if Owen saw this, but he actually responded to this tweet as well. So I thought this was very interesting because he actually didn't deal with the accusations or that I stated in the original tweet. All right. If you're not following me on social media outside of YouTube, that can be found linked in the description. Same name as the YouTube channel. Didi Got a Podcast, all one word. Please go give me a follow on Twitter and Instagram so I can keep up with you all that way as well. If you're interested in seeing this tweet that has gained some traction, which is part of the reason why Andrew Wilson actually saw it and responded to it, go and give me a follow. The challenge, the offer still stands towards Andrew Wilson as well. I'm open to debate you on this topic. Don't think it will serve much because you've already proven what your agenda is, but want to state that out there for the record. All right. Candace Owens. I was not aware that the Patrick Bay David podcast in the last maybe 2 years or so, when the episode where she appeared with the orange blazer, I wasn't aware. I was aware that she went on there, but I wasn't aware that she spoke about this. And even more interestingly, she spoke about it with Adam Sushnik or Sashnik, whatever his name is, the Israeli guest on the PBD podcast, who I suspect may be somebody's handler over there, allegedly. We're going to listen to what Candace Owens had to say on this show. about people accusing her of being a plant, specifically for Ben Shapiro, people coming up with these, what she called conspiracy theories about her marriage, saying her marriage is a sham. We're going to listen to what Candace Owens has to say. And of course, as always, I'm going to give you my thoughts.
Question, you brought up conspiracy theorists. This doesn't necessarily have to do with documentary, but it kind of does because it's on Daily Wire. So in your most recent episode of Candace Owens, you kind of threw some shade on the conspiracy theorists. You kind of was even all the right wing, and you were like, well, on one hand, you know, I'm a anti-Semitic Kanye supporter, but on the other hand, I'm a puppet of Israel and Ben Shapiro.
Yeah.
So which one is it? Can you be a puppet and anti-Semitic? How does it work?
People get so far into their conspiracy theories. The stuff that I have read about myself, it's insane. Like literally, if you don't place your hands right, even when I'm wearing a T-shirt on my show, if I wear a T-shirt on my show, they'll be like, what does it mean? I'm like, I don't know. It's a plane. They're like, okay, but like, what does it mean? Why is there an orange and a Concord plane? And I'm like, I don't know. They're like, well, because you know, people on the internet will just make something up. It's true. Literally, I have to be conscious of what I wear. I have to be conscious of my hand placements. They'll say that I'm in the Illuminati. There are conspiracy theories about my father-in-law who sits in the House of Lords in the UK, that he plucked me, works for the Rothschilds, that my marriage is a sham. I mean, people, I get it. I get why we don't trust the media, and that's good. But there's also a level that people will go to create conspiracy theories. And when you watch Convicting a Murderer and we show you the fandom.
Message. Yes, in case you missed it, we officially have become the #1 podcast in the world.
Us conspiracy theorists look like we're just really the people who have the courage to tell the truth early. You know what they say? What's the difference between a conspiracy theory and the truth? About 2 weeks. There's also a level that people will go to create conspiracy theories. You know what they say? What's the difference between a conspiracy theory and the truth? About 2 weeks. Welcome back to Candace.
Okay, let's talk about this a little bit. Wasn't aware that this clip existed. Was not aware that Candace Owens addressed this. Let's talk a little bit about what Candace said. First and foremost, on a two-dimensional level, right? One-dimensional, two-dimensional. For those of you that have never heard that terminology before, all I mean by one or two-dimensional is, what do I think about Candace Owens' intelligence? What do I think about how she carries herself, or her politics, her values, you know, the way things she's been involved with over the years. I believe that Candace Owens is extremely brilliant. Extremely brilliant. I think very highly of Candace Owens on a two-dimensional level. I think she's extremely impressive. I've never watched a woman, not that I don't watch women, but women and men typically have different interests, right? I typically learn those things that I'm interested in from other men. And the same goes for women. Women typically watch other women, and they typically learn from other women. And I think that's just nature. I've never watched a woman more so than I've watched Candace. I believe in my life, and I don't know if I've ever said that out loud. I don't know if it's ever dawned on me that that's reality. From a two-dimensional perspective, I think she's a heavyweight. What do I mean by heavyweight? I think she's an exceptional debater. I think she is very much so underestimated, especially on the right, especially those that don't agree with her, that are Zionists. I think part of the reason she's quote-unquote underestimated is because of the two factors. I believe because she's a woman and because she's a black woman. I do believe that because even though I know that racism, sexism, and the rest of the isms, including transphobia, those terms have been weaponized by the quote-unquote left, those things still exist. They just don't exist to the extent that they show and say many of the times, but they exist. And there are many people that don't like Candace for those very superficial reasons. I think very highly of Candace. It's the reason why I watch her. It's the reason why I'm defending her positions many of the times. I think she's extremely courageous. And I agree with her husband. I saw a clip from her husband recently and said that she has the balls, or bigger balls, than most men and politicians. I would also agree with that. That's two-dimensional. From a 3 or 4-dimensional perspective, it is extremely disingenuous for Candace Owens to pretend, because that is how it's coming off in this video, that people don't have reasons to question certain things about her. Now, Candace, I would have always assumed, and I still want to assume in this very moment, that you are the type of person that's fair, that would understand where a person would come from, even if those things are not true, and you would have no problem with clearing it up. Now, if you were to clear it up and a person still was to question it after you've done everything in your power to clear it up, then I would understand you taking the position that you've taken. But just pretending that people are just pulling at straws about things from your life, it's not very fair. I'm a person that's taking some heat. Oh, let me say this as well. Candace is absolutely correct that I understand what it's like to be in a position where if you do this, then they say you're too much on this side. If you do this, they say you're too much on that side. So you have to, at the end of the day, just live your life. People are going to think what they want. I understand that. I am often accused of, some people have called me of being a Candace Owens shield. Looney Tunes. I defend truth. I just think that Candace Owens tells a lot of truth a lot of the times. I've also been accused of being a Candace Owens hater. I've also been accused of being jealous of Candace Owens. None of those things are true. I'm not jealous of any woman because we live two different lives. And I'm also not jealous of Candace Owens because I look at her as a public figure. I'm not a public figure. What I am is fair. And I find myself defending the positions that Candace Owens takes more times than not because I happen to agree with her. I think she's on the side of truth many of the times. But I'm also objective and I'm critical when it's deserved, when it's necessary. The Candace Owens of today, she hasn't always been this version of herself, and she'll even admit that. Candace Owens, to pretend that it's not suspicious that you married your husband so fast, just respectfully, some people have a right to not understand that piece. You have a right to marry somebody as fast as you want. A couple of times I've heard your husband speak. Sounds like a great dude. Sounds very intelligent. It's also not very honest of you, or transparent of you, rather, to frame the response as if the background of your husband and the organizations that he's allegedly become a part of, memberships and clubs, are not suspicious. All right? It's a fair thing, especially when you're talking about his dad, who I believe is a Lord Farmer. It's also not, it's weird. I don't know how the last thing works. Some people even question why your name is not Candace Farmer. It is what it is. You're free to run your life how you want. All right. I'm free to watch your content, and I most times agree with you. And like I said, I think you're brilliant. But from a four-dimensional perspective, I also have to assess the fact that powers that be, many of the people that I talk about on the show, many of the people that it sounds like you talk about on your show, they allow you to trend. They allow your videos to gain traction. That's strange to me because they could mute Candace, because Candace is not just your regular everyday person. And I don't mean, or even your everyday celebrity or public figure. She exposes a lot of things that make people uncomfortable, but she's allowed to trend while doing it. I'm going to play a clip, and then we're going to look at some photos of Candace Owens, because first and foremost, something that people have pointed out many times, Candace says that she has to be careful about the hand signs. Well, I don't think you've ever taken that advice, because Candace, you religiously do the 666 hand signs. They could mean nothing. I agree that they could mean absolutely nothing. Could just be habit. But I would also think, like myself personally, if I'm just attempting to do these sort of deals, and I'm also wanting to expose Freemasonry and the occult and MK Ultra and industry plants and all these things in Hollywood and media and, military, that I want to be careful so that people can trust me. And when you're constantly doing that with your hands, it's not as trustworthy, because pretending once again that these are not popular hand signs that's shown in the entertainment industry is disingenuous. And when you speak that way, I don't know if you still hold this position that you held in this video clip I just played of yourself. Hopefully you don't hold that same position, because if you do, it's suspicious. All right. There's a reason why all these celebrities are doing it. And it's not just because it's trendy, and it's also not just because the photographer told them to do it. Some people are going to ask questions, and some people are going to be uncomfortable, yet they're all still doing it. It's fair for people to notice it and ask questions. And I would imagine that you would appreciate that. But in this clip, it seems that you were not appreciating that. I'm going to play a snippet once again that I played here in the last 2 weeks of Chronicles of Judah breakdown on Charlamagne the God, who is somebody that Candace has interviewed with on the Breakfast Club before, by the way. I want you all to listen to what he said. This is an excerpt from his video. who it has been, that being Chronicles of Judah, the most influential influencer, creator, journalist ever in my life. That's inspired me to become a YouTuber.
Person right here participated in a genocide in Rwanda. And let me say this, and I probably mentioned this in other videos. Many of the so-called quote-unquote revolutionaries or rabble-rousers are just meant to represent quote-unquote controlled opposition. They create the chaos so that a new order can be brought in, and you can get the masses to accept it if they think that there's some type of conflict that is being resolved. But let's read this blurb here under the photo. This man in 1994 participated in the brutal genocidal massacre of 3,000 Tutsi tribespeople who sought refuge in a church in Rwanda, Africa. In this news article, he says he is repentant and is rehabilitated. The cultic positioning of his arms and clenched fists say otherwise. Of course, in other words, he's a provocateur. He's an assigned agent of discord or chaos. That's his role, to keep the conflict going. Once again, when you turn on your television and you see this side against that side when it comes to foreign politics or foreign endeavors like civil wars, etc., for the most part, both sides are funded by the same umbrella entity. Okay, it's all Masonic, it's all Luciferian, or for the most part it is. So no, you dressing in all black does not make you a Luciferian. But when I see people in the entertainment industry that are doing so, especially with certain color schemes, that's how you know that that's what they're telling you. And as we can see in the title here, it says inside the cave. Inside is in blue, cave is in red. Red versus blue. It is a Saturnian principle. The twin pillars of Boaz and Yakin. You go in between those two pillars and you enter into the portal to the next world. You bring together those two colors, the red and the blue, and you have the color of royalty, that being purple. So you're always going to see the battle between the blue and the red, whether it's the Republicans versus the Democrats, the Crips versus the Bloods, one fighter in the red corner, the other fighter in the blue corner. You see that theme over and over and over again. Why is that? Because they're playing out ancient rituals.
They're playing out ancient rituals. I'll try to remember to link this video, the full video of this excerpt, in the description. I linked it in my video from a week or two ago when I covered this before. But if you listen to that, this video is 7-8 years old. This person is not discussing Candace Owens, but it literally could apply to Candace. I'm not saying that it does, but it could. It could. All right. He mentioned the twin pillars of Boaz and Yakin, right, which are Freemasonic principles, right, teachings. I want to show this to you before I show you a picture of Candace Owens. Twin pillars of Boaz and Yakin. This is going to be very important. Darkness, light, north, south. Evil, good, left, right. Moon, sun, water, fire, earth, sky, female, male, bride, groom, queen, king, receptive, active, earth, heaven, womb, phallus, restriction, flow, justice, mercy, right? The coming together of opposites. That's why he mentioned red and blue are Saturnian principles, because red and blue are considered opposites. Crips and Bloods. The fighter in the left corner, the fighter in the right corner, right? The blue corner and the red corner, rather. The Republicans and Democrats, right? Opposites, the bringing together of opposites, black and white. Well, I want to show you all something that many of you all have already seen before. But this is just to showcase something. This is a picture that Candace Owens posted herself that we've all seen before of her in, I think this is when she was first converted to Catholicism. And this is the photo that she decided to post. All right. This is her with, I'm assuming, her priest. All right. This is her photo. And all we are allowed to do is to just assess what she's posted, what we see, what's public information. If you're upset or if you are against people for noticing something about this photo or about anything about you, including myself, I can't be upset that I told people I went to the Clinton School. I got my graduate degree from the Clinton School. I have a master's degree from the Clinton School. I've met President Clinton. He literally sat 5 feet away from me when I walked the stage. I've showed the pictures to everybody. I shook his hand. Right? If somebody wants to take that to the next step and say, I'm a plant, sent by the Clintons and I'm controlled opposition, okay, fine. I'll have a conversation with you about it. Nothing about that is true. I don't even know those people. I just went to their school. The reason why this is important is because this photo right here clearly shows that the photo by Candace Owens is overwhelmingly resembles a Freemasonic lodge. Not only do you have the black and white checkerboard patterns on the floor, but you literally have the two pillars of what we clearly just indicated. Look at it. Boaz and Yakin, which can be found in either every one or almost every Freemasonic lodge, right? And as you just heard Chronicles of Judah state, when you walk through this, this is supposed to represent you stepping over into new knowledge, right? There's the photo of Candace that she posted. Here's a photo side by side. What is it that you notice about Candace's photo? Obviously, you got the black and white checkerboard patterns for the Freemasonic duality, the coming together of opposites being black and white. You also have the twin pillars of Boaz and Yakin that we just established. And you can clearly see that on the right as well in the Freemasonic Lodge. And you specifically see Candace on the other side of the twin of the pillars. It's not like Candace is just standing there cheesing at the camera. It is showing Candace Owens facing in the other direction on the other side as if she stepped on the other side of knowledge. You also see Candace in all black, or at least this cloak or this cover that she's wearing, this jacket is all black. You see the priest or the pastor with a white top on with the black bottoms. Once again, the white and black, the coming together of opposites. You got Candace, who was a black woman, quote unquote black woman, and he's a white man. If you're asking us to not notice these things about your photo and how incredibly, like remarkably identical it almost looks to a Freemasonic lodge, especially for those of us that have been studying this for years. If you're saying don't notice this, and how dare you think that there's something more here, especially considering that I'm extremely popular. I'm tied to Kanye West and some of the most biggest, political people in the world, including the president, who I have his personal number. Don't think that there's something more. I'm not. It's not possible that I'm controlled. Of course it is. Of course it is. I don't care if this is popular. I don't care if some of the people that get along with Candace won't like this. I don't care, because this is fair. This is what you call fair. And this is what you call thinking for yourself. The very thing Candace tells people to do. Think for yourself. Certain people will never say anything about Candace because of a multitude of reasons. I'm not one of those people. I'm fair. If I met Candace, I'll shake her hand. I'll be grateful. I wouldn't mind meeting her if we're in the same vicinity. But I'm not a fan of any human. I don't praise any human. I'm just saying I'm looking at the photo, and based on my eyes, this is an extremely suspicious photo. All right? Extremely suspicious. And that's fair to state. Black woman, white man coming together of opposites, and you're standing in between two pillars. You could have been standing closer to the camera and just cheesing to the camera. In this particular photo, this seemed extremely strategic to me. This idea that the Freemasons, I ain't gonna get into it. This supposed war between Freemasons and the Catholics. Maybe I'll do a deep dive on Patreon one day, but I've already given a recent video on Patreon about my thoughts on Catholicism for those of you that are wondering. I know some of you have said before, and also under this video, Didi, your hate for Catholicism is blinding you. What? I don't have a hate for Catholicism. I'm a follower of Christ, right? The pedestalizing, the placing on a pedestal, the misplacement of other humans is what I don't appreciate, amongst other things too. Mary is not special outside of the fact that she carried Christ. She's a sinner. She falls short of the glory of God. Christ said that himself. But we'll not have to get that into that here. I've given a deep dive before, so if you're curious about that sort of ordeal, join the Patreon. I do long deep dives over there. Have quite a few videos. I think I have like over 120 videos now, maybe 150. Most of them being exclusive videos you can't find on YouTube. So there's that. And so, yeah, I wanted to get my thoughts on it. I wasn't aware that Candace thought about it. I thought it was a bit not fair the way she covered it, as if she can't believe why people are thinking that. I'm like, come on now, Candace. Come on now, Candace. And that's just like, to be honest, some of that stuff is surface level, because I have an entire like 45-minute video of just like digging into Candace's background from like 2 years ago. Again, because I'm an objective brother. You say, well, you're flip-flopping. You 1 minute you like Candace, the other minute you're saying mean things. So I'm not saying anything mean about Candace. And I never stated that I love or hate Candace all around. I agree with many things about Candace, right? I admire certain things about Candace, but I'm also a fair person. And if you ask me to be stupid, dumb, ignorant, blind, deaf, well, unfortunately for you, I'm not. And by you, I just mean like the people who want me to feel differently. I think for myself. Right? No, Didi, I think she's visiting the chapel in one of the colleges in Oxford University. That may be possible, but it's still, I actually don't think that's what she's doing, because this picture was posted, and I can't save anybody. Only Jesus Christ can. But even if this is the case, this was like her banner background photo on Twitter, and I believe YouTube for like the longest, but definitely on Twitter for the longest. I mean, like, I think for years. That's intentional. You know? Creflo Didi Dollar. Bro, what? All right, man. Let me get to some of y'all super chats. Thank you. Thank you for the $10, Lori. Didi, you do an amazing job on your podcast. You stay on the facts and you do deep dive to the truth. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Lori. I appreciate you for viewing the video. Thank you once again. I think I hearted one of them. Thank you for the $2. Check out the Minority Report. Okay. Is there something in particular? Thank you, Miss Elaine, for the silver star. Gina, what's up, Gina? Thank you for the $10. I think we're all scrutinizing this and being distracted that there's something very seriously important going on beyond it. Been feeling like a big waste of time. We're all just going in circles. Yeah, I agree. I agree. We'll see, because what I plan to do, I'm gonna just see if, like, for those, this is a great opportunity to at least say this part. I'm wanting to follow this case. Like, I left it alone for a certain point in time, and I said I'm only going to cover like the overarching, and I meant that. Part of the reason why I've been covering a lot of these things I think that are happening are major, and I think it's leading to something. I don't want to get ahead of myself and speak it and it doesn't happen, or speak it and scare people. I suspect that we're headed somewhere, which is also part of the reason why I'm implementing these updates about what's happening in the world, whether it be on your local level, your state level, your federal level, from the schools to our president, right? To the wars that are taking place and things of that sort. I wanted to just showcase these things to people, which reminds me, I want to show y'all, what's his name? James Lee. He had a great short video, but it's because I want people to, I want, just in case it gets to where I think it's going to go, I want to at least be in the loop. I want my audience to also be in the loop of what's happening with this, because like I said, I think they use these. I think one of the biggest things from that debate was to keep the dynamic of Charlie. Actually, I'm getting off into something else. Anyways, in short, I agree. I'm keeping a close eye on this because I think this could be going somewhere. Hopefully not, but we'll see. Thank you for the $5, Lou. I appreciate it. I appreciate all the truth seekers, but there is zero chance anyone else pays for this. This was a sanctioned CIA Mossad hit. Is just how these go. Okay. I respect the perspective. And when I say like other things that are happening in the world, one of the examples is this. Shout out to James Lee, 5149 James Lee. Listen to this.
So this is interesting. The students at Carnegie Mellon University painted this question on campus. It says multiple choice, which will they censor? And they wrote death to fascism, death to apartheid, death to Zionism, death to colonialism, and death to racism. And the university actually went through and erased one of these. And you could probably guess which one.
For the first time in 75 years, Carnegie Mellon has censored the student fence. At CMU, there's a tradition called the fence. Students can paint this fence with literally anything as long as it doesn't incite violence, and is often used as a method of free speech for the students. CMU itself has stayed hands-off for over 75 years. That just ended. This June, students painted death to Zionism. That night, CMU sent staff and police to paint over it, so students tried something else. They painted a multiple choice question. Which will they censor? Death to fascism, apartheid, Zionism, colonialism, and racism. CMU painted over exactly one word, Zionism. Now, 10 students are under investigation. Most are banned from campus, and one is facing expulsion.
You know what they say? To learn who rules over you, simply figure out who you're not allowed to criticize.
Very well said. Once again, shout out to James Lee. So I want to just repeat. I fear that they're using this and they're dragging out this Charlie Kirk thing for a particular reason. And so I don't want to show my hand, right? But I want to make sure that this channel has been in the loop with some of the updates, some of the biggest updates surrounding this Charlie Kirk investigation. Because remember, this Andrew Wilson debate has happened, I believe, a month before the trial starts. It starts next month. I don't believe that's a coincidence. I don't believe it was a coincidence when the debate took place, when it was accepted, when he started calling them out. I think all of that stuff was strategic. But shout out to Gina. Thank you for the $5. Saw in comments, does Andrew Wilson have a black eye uncovered with shadow from hat? Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure who said it, but great catch. It looks like it, and he's hiding it. Huh. That's interesting. That's actually very interesting. Let's pull this up and see real quick. What did I? Oh, it was the one guy, the Warren guy. He here he is. Oh, no,
recently
no.
that Andrew Wilson.
No, wrong. It's actually not this one because that was the one. It was another one. I forget where the video was. Oh, I shared it from online on Twitter, so I can't pull it up. I'll definitely look into it and see, though. Thank you for $2 CDD, but I won't be clicking dude's channel. Fair enough. Fair enough. And she's talking about Warren's channel, everybody. Cassie, thank you for the $5. Have you ever seen or looked into the video on X where an unknown hooded person is getting into the trunk of CK's car after he was pop out? What? No. My understanding is Frank Turek. I know it's been a couple of videos circulating over there of other people that was standing around the vehicle that they're questioning, but I don't know if I've seen that one. Y'all gonna have to fill me in on that one. Thank you for the $5, Gina. Black Eye Club usually comes after humiliation ritual. For those who don't understand why I mentioned it, explain it for them, please, Didi. Well, the reason why here, let me actually see, because I wanted to confirm it first before I talked about that. Let's see if we can find the video of him. I've talked about this before in my videos about fraternities and sororities, that you'll typically find it sometimes because it's like gangs with, Crips, Bloods, GDs, BDs, Vice Lords, and the likes. A lot of these gangs are just Freemasonic. All of it is low-level Freemasonry in general, but many of it directly stems from it, allegedly. And what you typically find is that they go through, they take a beating. All right. Let me see if I can find this video of him so we can actually see if he has one. Let's see. Shoot. I don't know where I find. I'm gonna have to find the video of him because I hate to waste people's time. But what I will do is here. Let me see if I can pull up a quick summary of how these things work. Allegedly. Let's see here. Because I believe it's called the Black Eye Club. I think actually that's what Gina just said, actually. I think it's called the Black Eye Club. Okay, I may have found something. Let's see.
ക്ലബ്ബുകളെ കുറിച്ച് സംസാരിക്കാന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിരുന്നല്ലോ ഹോളിവുഡിലെ നമ്മൾ ബ്ലാക്ക് ഐ ക്ലബ്ബുകളെ കുറിച്ച് സംസാരിക്കാന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിരുന്നല്ലോ ഹോളിവുഡിലെ സൂപ്പർ എലീറ്റ് ഗ്രൂപ്പ്സിന്റെ ഇടയിൽ കണ്ടുവരുന്ന ഒരു പാറ്റേൺ ഏതെങ്കിലും ഒരു കണ്ണിന് ഇടി കൊണ്ട പോലെയുള്ള കറുത്ത പാടുകൾ യൂഷ്വലി ഇത് ഇടത്തെ കണ്ണിലാണ് കാണപ്പെടാറ് പക്ഷെ വലത്തെ കണ്ണിലും സ്പോട്ട് ചെയ്തിട്ടുള്ള കുറെ ഫോട്ടോസും കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ ഉണ്ട്.
That's kind of wild, bro. Do you think anybody understands you, bro? That's insane. But you can at least see the that sometimes you gotta laugh at this stuff. That's not what I thought that was gonna be. I'll find some time at a later time so we can do a deep dive on that for those of you that may be new to it. Thank you for the $5 super chat. VFT mentioned on his channel that it appears there was a contract that prevented Candace from asking question, makes Andrew's loss even sadder. Well, according to Candace, there was actually no contract. She's already spoke on it. There was actually not an actual contract, just some agreements they came to. But I don't think there's anything they signed off on that prevented her from asking questions. She spoke on it. But thank you, though. Thank you, everybody. All right, thank you for the $2. Relax, we still have billions for right. Thank you for the $5. A freedom out of darkness. Hey, from Ireland, the interview Charlie done with Ben. Charlie was in trouble at that point. Ben's face said it all. I'm convinced he's involved. You have very good reason. Yeah, we covered a lot of that stuff early on. What do you think? Thank you for the $5. What do you think about Orthodox Christian Church? How do I say this, man? Like I'm still learning. The reason why I'm pausing here is because I'm still learning when they tell me there's a time and place for everything, Didi, and it's not always great to just spew things. You want to just be strategic and mindful. I'll put it to you like this. Denominations are in place for a reason, and it's scriptural, right? The scriptures speak about it. And many of what we believe is Christianity, I believe is, I'm going to say the term, but I'm going to explain it, Luciferianism. But let me explain. It's not because I think people are actually worshiping the devil. That's not what I mean. Or I think they're actually satanic. I believe many people are unknowingly participating in something that is pagan. And remember what I said earlier, I believe it's God's side and the other side. I believe, in other words, let me use different language. I believe that you either worship God or you don't. It doesn't matter what that other thing that you worship is. If it's not God, if it's not the holy, the God of the Holy Bible, right? The scriptures, the Holy Scriptures, what you all know to be the Bible, what we know to be the Bible, then I think it's rooted in Luciferianism by design. And so for now, I'm going to keep that short because, again, I'm trying to just be, I think you are free to do what you want, obviously. The Most High gave us free will. But identifying with the denomination is interesting. Again, I covered some of those things in my older videos on Patreon. Thank you for the $1. Thank you for the $5. Please look into the political refugee Brendan Lee O'Connell and his document, Brenda Lee O'Connell, UNHCR, tip of the spear on the subject. Which subject are you referring to? Thank you for the $10, Jamaican girl. Do you watch Ryan Dawson? I don't watch him. Where is that name? Let me see. Ryan Dawson. I know that name. Ryan Dawson. I actually don't know him. Oh, actually, dude, that's the dude that Ryan Dawson is the guy who early on released the Epstein files, the actual list of Epstein files, right? I've seen some of his stuff, and then I realized like, oh, he's a victim of his own skin color, like many other people of multiple different skin colors, including some black folks too, or some so-called black folks too, where they think that they're superior to everybody else. This weird thing. I don't subscribe to that nonsense. Ryan Dawson is one of those people. You are free to say the N-word. You're free to say what you want. But I think like when you decide to just be blatantly disrespectful to people by intention because you have the right to be disrespectful to people, I just don't think you're a good person. You know, if you're going out just not meaning well, Ryan Dawson is one of those people. He's a quote-unquote truth teller like Whitney Webb. He suddenly showed up on Sean Atwood with blonde hair and black eye. I'm going to look it up. That's actually very interesting. Yeah, I'm going to look it up. Thank you for the $50 on your end. TRI shows $5.50, but I'm sure it's $50. For those who are questioning possible Masonic infiltration inside the Catholic Church, I highly recommend Alexander Poe's channel. He's a Catholic convert who provided immaculate reference in his video discussions. For those who are questioning possible Masonic infiltration inside the Catholic Church, okay. This person says Alexander Poe's channel. I may have seen their channel before and may have saved some of their videos to check out later. Yes. He has like just a few videos, if I remember correctly. Now he has 100 and something. So this can. Oh, this is the guy. I was just watching his videos the other day. Let me show you all this. Let me just share my screen so you all can see it. A very good plug. Here he is. Alexander Poe. That's where you can find him. Yep, Archbishop's final interview. I don't necessarily agree because he actually, here's the thing. When I say great find, he does some digging. I don't know if I actually agree with all of the things that he shared because a lot of it I think is coming from, because I'm pretty sure like when you said Catholic convert, he is an actual current Catholic. And I think he's made many justifications as to why many things are the way that they are, if I remember correctly. And I watched like 3 of his videos before. So, we'll see. We'll see. Thank you. But yeah, man, I appreciate you all of y'all. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. I am going to get my butt off of here and start working on this other video that I have lined up. But I need to rest a little bit and ice my knees. So I'm a zone up out of here, man. I appreciate y'all. Love y'all. I'm Demetrius. I go by DD. I'm going to catch you all in the next one. Peace. Oh, yeah. DD got a pie.
Attitudes and our work ethic become very important in realizing our goals and opening up possibilities. I had lunch a couple of weeks ago with a recent graduate at UCA. And his story is really fascinating. It's one of overcoming homelessness during his time pursuing his degree, first at a community college here in Arkansas, and then finishing his bachelor's degree here at UCA. His narrative ranges from estrangement from family for many years to a hopeful reunion with mother and siblings. His record is one of overcoming odds in a way that I probably could not, and certainly demonstrating levels of tenacity and patience and optimism that I can only marvel at. He wanted to talk with me about his new job and his career path going forward. I really need to be there to learn from him because that's where the real value was.
everything I say in this video is alleged. Allegedly.
No such thing as a life that's better than yours. Doctor, just repeat after me. I really appreciate it. All right. No such thing. Come on, we can do better than that. Talk to me. Now let's start it over. No such thing as a life that's better than yours.
You're worse than the rich white people or the rich white Jews that own these record labels, because they don't even understand these populations. You have a lot closer relationship to these people, and you're leading them to hellfire. You are leading them in the wrong direction in the name of getting rich and famous. How dare you?
Oh yeah, Didi got a podcast.